Next topic for today. Let's move the spotlight back onto Jesse. Jesse, neither of us, Adrian and I, haven't had a chance to see this yet, but it is on Netflix. Power of the Dog. It's got a bit of Oscar buzz. What do you think of this one?
So Power of the Dog's directed by Jane Campion, based on a novel by, I think his name's Thomas Savage, who wrote a lot of westerns. And yeah, it's a western. It's set in Montana, but they shot it all in New Zealand. Jane Campion's Australian. She's done a whole bunch of stuff that I just can't remember off the top of my head. And it stars it's set in Montana in North America, and it stars two brothers that are like wealthy ranch owners, George and Phil Burbank, played by Jesse Plemons and Benedict Cumberbatch.
By the way, are they believable as brothers? Because they do not look.
They don't look alike at all.
They don't look alike, but I bought it. Like, I bought them as brothers because brothers don't always look alike. So
that's fine. How's Kirsten Dunst? Because I haven't seen her.
Yeah, so she was in it as well. She did well. So basically, they're like these ranch owners, and they're moving this cattle or something like that, and they happen upon a restaurant, and Jesse Plemons, who plays George Burbank, he's kind of like the nice, sweet guy, very friendly, very just whereas Benedict Cumberbatch is the very macho, no nonsense, short tempered, and they come to this restaurant that Kirsten Dunst owns, and she has a son there, played by Cody Smith McPhee, and Cody Smith McPhee's character is very effeminate, obviously gay, and very sensitive. He like makes flowers out of like paper and stuff like that, and Benedict Cumberbatch's character, who's with all these like blokey ranchers or whatever, he picks up on this and basically makes fun of Cody Smith McPhee's character, and then Jesse Plemons and Kirsten Dunst fall in love. They start a relationship. Kirsten Dunst moves into their home or ranch, and that really pisses off Benedict Cumberbatch's character, and he starts things to antagonize her. And there's this scene where she's playing the piano, and she's just like, because she likes playing the piano and she's doing it by herself. But then he comes in with like a banjo, sort of like a Deliverance kind of thing, where he's trying to mimic her playing on the piano, and he's like really trying to intimidate her because he can't stand her, because he thinks that she's just there to take their money. He doesn't think she's there because she generally loves Jesse Plemons. And he also has this thing against women, and you don't know why. His character puts up like this huge macho front, and as the film develops, you find out that he's actually indeed gay, and I guess he puts up that macho front because he doesn't want to. He's sexually repressed, he's angry, he's irritated by everyone, he doesn't like anyone. And he did really well. I thought his performance was well. All the actors did well. He starts having a friendship with Kirsten Dunst's son, Cody Smith McPhee, and because he can kind of understand where he's coming from, because Cody Smith McPhee is a very effeminate kind of gay man, and I think he can kind of see, he can relate to him or whatever, and they start a friendship. But the thing is as well, because of his intimidation towards his mother and his antagonism, Kirsten Dunst starts developing an alcohol problem. She starts becoming an alcoholic, and she just spends her days just drinking alcohol, like around the property, or she just lay in bed all day and just be drinking alcohol or hide alcohol bottles, and she just becomes like a really depressed and just becomes an alcoholic because she can't stand Benedict Cumberbatch's character. And her son sees this, and her son ends up developing a close friendship with Benedict Cumberbatch, and towards the end of the movie, tricks him and deliberately infects him with something. So Benedict Cumberbatch's character ends up dying from anthrax, and from handling a raw hide that Cody Smith McPhee finds during a ride out into the middle of nowhere. He finds this cow, guts it, because throughout the whole movie, like, Cody Smith McPhee's character is very effeminate, but there's like a sort of like psychopath kind of tendencies there. Like, there's one scene where a servant comes in and finds him dissecting and cutting up a rabbit, and taking out its insides and stuff and studying, because he's trying to study medicine, but there's also like some psychopathic, and it's very subtle. The whole movie is very, very subtle. You didn't really understand, like the first time watching it, I didn't fully get everything. It's not in your face. You really like have to pay attention because it's very subtle, but he develops this relationship, and Benedict Cumberbatch feels like he can trust him, but then Cody Smith turns to him at the last minute for his mother and ends up deliberately infecting him with this anthrax. And I liked it. It was a very good film. Critics have been raving about it. It's slow. It's a Western. It's slow. Some people are going to have a problem with the pacing and the subtlety, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great film, and all the performances were fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really, really well directed. The score by Johnny Greenwood from Radiohead was fantastic. Cinematography was fantastic.
So
Performances,
cool.
yeah, I really enjoyed it. So
Cool.
I actually watched the first half, and then I ended up having to leave.
I've just
home,
spoiled the
so I didn't
entire
get to
thing for
finish
you.
it,
Well,
but-
I was going to say, we don't have to watch the movie
You
now
didn't.
because
You
literally
didn't.
told us everything.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
Thank you for that abbreviated version.
You didn't have to spoil it for me. I did
have
already
you
know
read
the
the book?
ending of the book. I haven't read it, but when this movie came out, I did one of those things where, you know how Wikipedia in the plot tells you the whole fucking plot and not
Jesse
just
just
like
did.
the baseline? I ended up getting like sort of invested, and I didn't care too much. So I just read the whole thing like before the film came out because I had heard so much buzz about it. And just from that first half, the performances were really, really good, but I agree with the pacing thing. It is an extremely subtle film, and I feel like everything would have been...
Yeah.
It's all on the twist. Like, that twist is like
it's
that
like a blink and
bit
you'll
you're
miss it
waiting
kind
for
of
the
twist.
whole time.
And a lot of people didn't get it. A lot of
Yes,
people watching the movie
yes.
didn't get the twist. Well, from what some
They
reviews
didn't?
I've seen, some people didn't like from first watching. But it's a very blink and you
boy.
miss it kind of twist. Really,
Yeah.
it's very subtle because he handles the raw hide with gloves. Because if it touched his skin, he'd be infected or something. Something could happen. So Cody Smith McPhee's handling this raw hide while wearing gloves. And there's this scene in the barn, and it's a fantastic scene. It's probably one of the best scenes in the movie, where Kirsten Dunst sells these hides to this American Indian and his son. And because the servants at the house say, Benedict Cumberbatch, he just burns all the hides because he doesn't want anyone else to have them. He's just, selfish and narcissistic that way. And she's like,
He's
oh, no, we can't
selfish,
do that. And
yeah.
she runs out and sells them, and they give her this nice pair of gloves. He comes back from a journey with Cody, like a ride with Cody Smith McPhee, and finds out and just loses his fucking shit and just like starts tossing shit around, getting really fucking pissed off. And then Cody Smith McPhee just like ducks out of the barn as he's just going ballistic. And then he comes back and he's holding something, and he takes one of the gloves off. And that's the implication. That's what happens. And he brings it in later on, and and he gets infected and
Right.
yeah, it's very subtle. It's very, very, very subtle movie. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good.
Unfortunately, like that, something they always teach you in screenwriting class and stuff, and a lot of people always say this, and critics will say it, it's like, don't spoon feed the audience. Don't bash them over the head with it. Don't spoon feed. But the thing is, with average audiences, you fucking have to. Because no matter how smart they think they are, unless you have a character literally say, oh no, he took the glove off and that gave him anthrax. So don't you see, it was me all along. Like, if you don't have a line like that, the average cinema goer or the average person, right over their head. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
While more, nuanced and
I love the fact that in the movie, it's like Jesse Plemons' character's straight, but he's very softly spoken, very kind, and whereas Benedict Cumberbatch's character is actually gay, but he puts on like such an aggressive macho front, because you usually, when you perceive it, generally, this is very generally speaking and stereotypical, but you generally perceive a straight guy's more blokey and macho, whereas the gay guy's usually a bit more effeminate, softly spoken, and but it's like switched, and I thought that was kind of interesting how it switched.
Well, that's the whole like dialogue about toxic masculinity and stuff like that, right? Like it's
you can't pinpoint
and,
like just one
I feel
type.
Like, I feel like there's another movie, I can't think about it right now, but it's the same sort of idea, you know? And that stereotype, it's so not accurate. And it sounds like this film did a good job at portraying that. But I'm sure some ignorant people out there probably watched it and go, well, how come the guy who acts gay was the straight one and the guy who acts straight was the gay one?
Well,
like, No, it's because you're an idiot, buddy. Like, that's not how...
I mean, like Jesse
Plemons.
Jesse Plemons didn't act effeminate, but he just acted very, very, warm, open. Like even when that scene,
not alpha male.
Yeah, like even when Benedict Cumberbatch is losing his shit, like Jesse Plemons just comes, calm down, man. Apologize for whatever's happened. Like he's just trying to calm it. He's just like he doesn't, So
not over the top. All right, so you enjoyed it? Do you recommend it?
Yes, I recommend it, but it's not for a casual audience goer. It's not.
Do you think this has a chance at any Oscar categories?
Without a doubt. Yeah, it's all the actors in this brought their A game. I thought they all did well. I was all invested into their characters. Jane Campion did fantastic directing. This will without a doubt get some nominations. So yeah, it's a great film.